Yeah, so I just wanted to talk about how we need to support our comic shops, and I know we all have our favorites, but there are some guys who are doing, well, guys and girls out here who are doing some real cool stuff. I took my 13-year-old into Fantasy Escape maybe 2 weeks ago, and they had just cleaned it up, and he was like, "Oh, this is my favorite shop," and I kind of talked to him afterwards. I was like, "Well, dude, like, calm down. I'm glad you like it, but I'm over at a different shop because that's where my pull list is." And whenever I drive by Fantasy Escape, I'm always like, I should go in there. So I went in there last week, and I was looking for a couple of books, and the guy was like on me, and he was like, "Hey, we got this and this, and if you join, you get such and such percent off." Like, we really need to support these other shops. Like I love going out to Norfolk, and going to local heroes. Like, it's clean, it's polished, but we have a lot of people who are out there struggling right now. So even if it's just adding a pull list at another shop for just two comics, just showing your face, would really mean a lot to them. What do you guys think?
I'll say this with comic shops, Fantasy Escape, I almost didn't really know too much about them besides when going to like Fuzz 79 on Virginia Beach Boulevard. So Comic Kings was my thing, Trilogy was my thing, and Atomic Comics Emporium in Hampton, those were my three main shops.
Mhm.
And it's definitely a thing where you want to support as a comic book fan. I wrote the article earlier about how much it means to me going to these shops, finding these it's escapism. You know what I'm saying? In its purest form, and being in the company of like-minded individuals who share the same passion as you. And I don't want to see comic shops go the way of the dodo. You know what I mean? I don't want them to become pretty much like the video rental store, of basically brick and mortar stores. I don't want to see them, go away because there is definitely a special feeling when you go to these places, and it's just talking to people, talking to the owners, seeing the excitement of people picking up a new book, and then, so we don't want comic shops to go the way it's like we don't want it going out like Blockbuster did, or Hollywood Video or Suncoast. You know what I'm saying? Like we want this thing, we want comic shops to stay for a long time because unlike GameStop where you go in there and you're agitated and you're irritated, you go to the right shop and you feel welcome. You feel kind of at home, and it's a nice feeling of escapism where you can just go in there, you find your books, you talk to some people. It's bright, or even sometimes if those who like the dungeony kind of shops where it's like there's so much shit here, I don't know what to go through, but I'm gonna just go through it anyway. um you know what I'm saying? I wish I would have gave a little bit more support to Fantasy Escape, between the three shops I went to, because it is a nice organized place, and I don't wish any drama or troubles or downfall for any shop. So I'm definitely I'm a traditional person. I can do digital, but I like a physical book in hand, reading it, and I like to actually buy it from a shop rather than online. I think most people still like to buy comics in person rather than online. So as long as we can support these shops, and especially if they have to carry the books that we want to, I think we definitely have our place to try to support these shops, and then and their end they try to support us by providing products and books and experience that you can't find anywhere else. So that's my 2 cents on comic book shops and whatnot.
I
Anyone
guess
else
I,
got anything?
I
Luckily,
should
where I
speak.
oh
Go
my
ahead.
bad.
Go ahead. Go ahead. You good?
Luckily, where I live, right now at least it's booming. A lot of people going to shops, but the my shops are almost all of them are franchised. called Bedrock Comics.
Hmm.
They're all almost the majority of them that are near me are like franchised ones. All the mom and pop ones are mostly further out from where I live, but they're doing well. Like I'll go to like 3 different locations, and there'll be at least 5 people in there, but they're 5 engaged people, not
Hmm.
not new people like that are looking around as much, but they're people that are there on the regular and buying books on the regular, just from the way I can see them and how they're talking to people. And then
Right.
I ask the employees about how is the because I'm new to comics, and I told him that, and I said
Mhm.
how is it doing, and he said, man, we can't keep certain books in. We're having a hard time getting books in because of COVID. And he said
Mm.
it's booming out here right now. And I said for it's booming now, and he says yeah for now, but it's booming pretty good out here for them. So that's just me though, where I live.
Right, right. And that's the Houston, Texas area, right?
Correct.
Okay, okay. Oh, what you got, man?
I had a comic book shop that was actually close by, almost walking distance. You know,
Heroes and Villains, right?
yes, heroes and villains.
Man, that was a loss. That was a loss. Those guys, little quick sidebar, those guys back when I was cosplaying, I was always looking for comics to give to kids when we go to these events, whether it be theaters, the boardwalk, whatever. And the owner was so nice. He would give me free comic books to hand out to kids whenever I visited them because, I would shop there and he was like, hey, I know you do your cosplay thing. He would I'd ask and he'd like, yeah, I have some books to give you so that you can hand out to kids or whatever. And he'd offer that. And it was really, really nice of him to do that. He didn't need to do it, but he did it anyway. And Heroes and Villains, I got hardware number one in like 2021, I think, from there in one of their bins, and
Nice.
it was a nice spot, and I was sad when they went out of business, man. I feel you on that, dude.
Yeah, because that's where you witnessed me buying Last Ronin. So
Mm.
that book kind of has sentimental value right now because that was for me. That was the last book I bought from that comic book store, and then
Mm.
yeah, then so now I transition over to the one on Todd's Lane. I forgot the name of their comic book stores, but like I only go there for whenever they got a copy of my stuff, But I guess they stopped updating me, so I was like, oh, you know what? I don't have a home comic book store anymore. So I mean, it is what it is. And then these days, I'm just collecting graphic novels, and I go to Barnes and Nobles, and I think you were there to witness when I bought the Power Rangers Time Force deal, and the clerk happened to know about Power Rangers and stuff. I was like, oh, she's
Yeah.
knowledgeable, you know.
Yep, I
You
was
know.
there. I remember.
Yeah, so I mean, but yeah, I'm still in the search for my own home. Well, actually, I still technically do because Atomic Comics in Hampton. Yeah, like even though I've cosplayed there randomly, and the lady still remembers me there. After 10 years almost.
Yeah, 10 years. She looked at
Yeah,
you. I remember we went into the store. I bought a few things, and you were just standing there. And she was like, "Don't I know you from somewhere? Aren't you the White Ranger?" And it was like you haven't cosplayed that in years, and she still
yeah,
remembered you from when you were doing that.
yeah. And she's like, "What happened to it?" I'm like, "I retired it." I'm like, "It's been 10 years." Last time I pulled it out was when we did we did a fundraiser for one of our local friends here in Hampton Roads and stuff. And
Right, right.
I just thought it was just our responsibility to try to at least do something instead of just like feeling like oh well, we have the power to do so, but we just never did it. So I'm just glad we were able to do that. But yeah, man, like it's one of those things that is actually us millennials, man, because I don't think the centennials are going to do too much with the comic book, world and stuff like that. We gotta keep our shops alive. Pick one, keep it alive, build you a pool, build yourself a pool box and stuff.
List.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and just start supporting, and most of these comic book stores, they definitely have a community and stuff like that. And I mean, I know how hard it is because it's like, going to a new comic book store and there's a community involved. It's like being a new kid in new school and nobody likes that feeling and stuff, but
True.
I don't know. Maybe sometimes it's just that interest of, just coming there with maybe your group of friends and meet up with another group of friends and see what they're all talking about, and every time I go to a comic book shop, I'm always seeing everybody else playing their own Dungeons and Dragons and card games and stuff. Something I don't know nothing about. It's always been an interest of mine, but I know nothing about. But it's just nice to just be a part of that community. It's like always going to a arcade. There's a couple games you wouldn't know anything about, but you just like to be a part of that environment.
True. Damn,
You
spot
know.
on, man. Spot on.
Yeah, so it's just one of those things that we all gotta do, gotta do, because if anything else, man, it's just it could easily be faded away if they don't stop, or if they don't snap and be like, hey, it's gonna disappear like a Blockbuster or like a Circuit City or so, because we're just buying stuff online, and I get that it's the future, and I can't help but that's what the pandemic has created, where nobody wants to go out anymore. Everything is just accessible online, and I get that, but if we keep that stigma around, man, we're just causing our local shops, especially your mom and pop or your Rick and Mortar shop stuff, this they can end up fading away, and um I'm guilty of doing that when I go to comic convention stuff, and I go to a dealership, I take a picture of what I want and order it online when I know I could have been bought it from there,
Mm.
So it's just we've all created habits within ourselves that you know we should probably look at breaking,
True.
but at the same time, like we all know that, with the habits that we keep on saving stuff, we will take for granted of what we used to enjoy doing, because note it, like me driving around the Hampton Roads, stuff like that. It's still that eerie feeling when I drive past a past Toys R Us. It's like I remember Toys R Us used to be right there, or I remember EB Games used to be right there, or KB Toys used to be right there and stuff. Just that eerie feeling
I
that,
know.
like,
I know.
it's just
Yeah.
it's scary.
I know that feeling. Where old businesses that you used to love and thrive are now gone and dead.
Yeah, that's that
Yeah.
crazy feeling, and
And we don't
and
want that to happen to comic books.
no, definitely
Hell
don't, man,
nah.
because I actually even questioned myself. I was like, so if we all were to have kids, or some of us do have kids, stuff like that, it's like, where can you take your kids to actually get a bit of your nostalgia factor, like a Toys R Us, an arcade, or a comic book shop, stuff like that. If they don't if there's nothing around it, like, where can you take your kids to? Because other than that, you're just gonna have to look forward to it being part of the metaverse. you know
Yeah.
I don't want to see a digital shop or something I used to go
Oh,
to.
Man,
oh,
man,
Yo,
oh
you
man.
got out there too late
and
now.
and
It's
you
happening.
know what? Now that you brought it up, last Sunday I used the Oculus for the first time, and
Uh-oh.
wow, I see where
You plugged
Facebook's
in, boy. You
eyes are
plugged in.
where Facebook's eyes are at. It's still stupid, but man, with a few tweaks, that's Ready Player One right there. With
Yep.
just a few, very few tweaks.
Yep.
I tried that on. I played a game called Super Hot. Man, it was it's crazy, man. The future is scary. That's all I'm gonna say.
I'm gonna tell you this
As
right
Uncle
now.
Jack would say, we're going to dicey territory, man. Dicey territory.
That world currently does exist. I'm telling you this. I'm not trying to market or anything else, but I mean, it's a really established thing. So if you guys have
Yeah,
Steam,
yeah.
all right, if you guys have Steam and you guys download VR Chat, which is free, you're going to see already a community that is similar, almost not one to one, but is exactly close to it, to Ready Player One, where you could be your own avatar or create your own avatar and be at particular spots that you used to memorize or used to be at, because they resurrect. I remember, you guys remember PlayStation Home. I know
Mhm.
that's the
I do.
Yeah,
I
I
remember.
remember
all
that.
right. So they somebody in VR chat recreated that whole entire world where it looks one for one scale like PlayStation Home on VR chat. You know, they have also resurrected Kmart. They also have they've done a lot of shit where it's almost to that aspect where, you know what, you're gonna actually get a demo of what the metaverse is gonna be like, virtual stores and stuff. Where it's just this VR chat is definitely the prototype of Ready Player One. Like I'd say, give that a try and get back to me when you guys do give it a try. You don't need an Oculus headset or anything else. You could be on your. You just gotta have a good computer to be able to handle VR chat and just get a taste of what metaverse might end up looking like. And it's getting there. It's scary, but it's getting there. Everything that you used to memorize, remember going like shit. What was you remember Discovery Zones? I don't know if y'all had Discovery
Mhm.
Zones,
Yep.
Yeah, Discovery
but
Zone and the Warner
Yeah.
Brothers store
yeah,
and all that. Yeah.
yeah. Imagine them recreating it in a virtual space. That could possibly be it. And that's where it might be going towards. Everything that we enjoyed as a kid could be resurrected in a digital format. And we could just talk about the good old days of, oh man, I remember Discovery Zones, and I remember the Disney Store, and I remember the all sorts of stores that you used to go to back in the malls back when. Shoot, it might be so scary that they resurrect every mall that you had that you used to go to from what it used to look like from the 80s and 90s. That's how scary this shit is going to become.
That's
Yeah.
crazy.
And we're
Yeah.
trying to
Well,
prevent that from happening with comic books shops for sure. Trying to
Exactly,
preserve
but
that.
you know what you guys we just recently has passed the event called MagFest. Somebody recreated the whole entire National Harbor in VR chat. Like try to recreate it for one scale of how it's like to enjoy MagFest virtually. You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
and
We're getting there.
we're getting it because PlayStation Home kind of already did that when E3 was around. Like if you couldn't be there physically, you could be there virtually through PS3 on PlayStation Home, like recreating the virtual map of what it looks like in real life. Which is
Right.
scary, but that's what it's like.
Yeah. Yeah. The future is scary, man. The future is, it's creeping up on us, creeping on us. Charles, what do you
Would
think
you-
about this?
I was saying, so
Comic
yeah,
shops.
it's tough, right? Because I'm in tech, so what adjustments? Because you gotta keep in mind, like you said, the future, right? So what adjustments are made? Because like movie theaters did it. It was happening to movie theaters, and they bounced back. Um, with what was that thing that subscription service that you could watch 10 movies or whatever?
Gold AMC stub, gold
Yeah,
stub.
AMC Stub. Yeah,
Oh,
all of
dude, that
that.
was a
So
lifesaver. Minor, dude. I bought that shit immediately. I was watching 10 movies a month.
and that kept them. That was the line that when streaming came, it came hard. So that was the
Yep.
line that kept movie theaters going a little bit longer. Like, what adjustments are the comic shops making to compete like that? Because you have to compete, right? So, are there any changes that you would say that, like, in that space that have been made? You know?
From what I hear,
Um,
oh,
they
go ahead,
had
Eric. Go ahead, man. Or go ahead, D. Smith. Go ahead, man.
just really quickly. What I heard when COVID first started, some comic shops were literally doing curbside service. That's about
Nice.
it. Um, yeah, that's about it. Because where I'm at, there isn't any problem right now. But I can't speak for the rest of the country as far as getting new readers. I really think MCU has did more to get readers in than the comic book industry is doing to keep themselves propped up for new customers.
Mm. It's like there's a, and you'll probably see it since you're here, Dion. But there's like a manga shop here, and they serve ramen there. So people, it's like a meetup spot. So they eat their ramen, and there's mangas around. Like, what is like? I can see that. Like, that's let's go hang out at. I forgot
Yeah.
what it's
hmm
called. But
a
like, I
black
don't. Go ahead.
I'm sorry to interrupt again. A black chick. I got this in my newsfeed a while back. She started a cafe, an anime cafe. I don't
Hmm.
remember where.
Oh, I
In
think it was
fact,
in
I'm gonna
Detroit.
look it
I think I
up.
saw that
It,
article. I
it
think
might
it's in
it
Detroit.
might be, yeah. But she started up a cafe, a anime cafe, and I was like, man, I wish I lived where that was at.
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
It's like those are like the little things that other genres are doing to stay, to compete. So what I guess where where's the gap for like for the comic stores to make those changes?
Yeah. Go ahead, Eric. I know you got some things to say, man.
That's all right. Is it Amalgam Philly? Anyone follow them on Instagram?
Okay.
Oh, I know of them. The owner was on the cover for Ironheart, and that's kind of where she got kind of viral from.
Yeah, yeah. They have like a full-on cafe
Nice.
and a rather large children's section, which I know for me that would be a big draw. Like, because some stuff that I'm like, even my 13-year-old, I'm like, nah, dude, you're not ready for that. And so being able to walk my 13, 12, in an 8-year-old into a shop and be like, okay, here's where you're gonna
Something
be.
for everyone. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that would be huge. And right now there's only one shop around here like that. That I'm like, I can take all of my kids in there and we can all walk out with a book.
Nice.
I heard YA is killing it with the Dogman book series and
Yeah,
just in general. YA is really scholastic deals, and I
Mhm.
heard that's the new gold mine is
Yep,
gold
yep,
YA and try to make it big through there in terms of like comics and graphic novels and writing
yep,
short stories and shit. You know.
yep, yep. That stuff is starting to pop. At my comic book shop, there's a whole dedicated section for like Captain Underpants and
Right. Right.
Dogman and other
Yes.
children's books. Those YA books or those mini graphic novels, they're a sleeper hit that nobody knows about except for the kids.
That's
Right.
cool.
I just looked and I have three of them here in Houston.
Mm.
The
Wow.
cafe anime cafes. Never heard
Ooh,
of them.
bro,
It
you
looks like I have three or more.
you better hit him up,
I
man.
only
Get
looked
yourself an
really
anime
quick.
waifu. You better get your anime waifu, man. You better hit him up. Get yourself some books, some ramen, and whatever else that might come with it.
Get some hot coffee. Some nice
Uh,
hot coffee.
some Luke Cage style, right?
Oh yes, most definitely.
Awesome.
But that seems to be a common factor is community. Seems to be a common factor in terms of, I guess, even GameStop, right? GameStop game sales are down. So what do? They try to make more. They try to go T-shirts and toys and all this other stuff, but gaming, right? And they want to try to make more of a community center. And I think that's the thing. There's a similar effect with comic shops in that they are now going towards tabletop gaming. You know what I'm saying? The Yu-Gi-Oh, the Magic the Gathering, the Pokemon, the whatever, right? Their comic shops are slowly becoming into just like entertainment. And they're starting to turn into entertainment centers for nerds, blurs or whatever.
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
there's less shelf space for comics, and they're now replacing that with cards or Y novels or
Mm,
board
Mhm.
games or whatever.
T-shirts.
T-shirts, Funko Pops,
Mhm. Mhm.
figures, the whole
Mhm.
or even potentially
Statues.
manga, statues, right?
Mhm.
Keychains, all the works. So there's definitely a shift in some of these shops trying to adapt and stay alive in the field. And what they're doing is they're changing up their shops to be like, okay, well, let's carry less comics. There's no more back issues. There's only new comics, and then everything
Oh.
else is just boom, Yu-Gi-Oh, boom, new Dragon
Mhm.
Ball Z, new Pokemon
Mhm.
cards, and we got tournaments every weekend. And because the card players, they spend money. They'll go there and they'll spend money. And the comic, I don't know, the comic numbers, the customers, they'll walk in and they'll just window shop. Either they're looking to go into the back issues to try to find something that's a key for cheap that they missed, that the shop owners missed, or they're not really looking for something. There's not a new story that's engaging them, so they just come in, they might socialize, and they leave. So comic shops are trying to. They have a problem where maybe new products aren't selling as well, and the older issues are only hitting a certain demographic like us. And then you have the younger generation going in there for cards or to socialize or for board games or to buy Funko Pops or to buy action figures. So comic shops are slowly adapting into just basically pulp culture centers for nerds to hang out at.
wow.
And what we want to do is like we need as indie creators, we want comic shops. Like I want Tales of Florida in every shop in Florida. You know what I'm saying? Because for the most part, people in comics, like the fans, they want to go to a shop and buy it. A lot of people don't want to go on Kickstarter, or a lot of people don't want to go online and order a comic. I know plenty of people. I mean, even I'm a victim of this. I will wait until an indie creator goes to a convention where I'm going to buy the shop, to buy the comic physically instead of going to the website and getting it sent to me in the mail. A lot of people do that. They'd be like, "Hey man, when you coming to Virginia? Where are you coming to Houston? When are you coming to my area?" Because I don't want to order online. I just want to buy it in person. I will wait 7 months, 8 months, or shit. I'll just wait till forever until you physically come near me so I can buy your comic. So there's still a lot of people who want to buy comics physically. I guess for us indie creators, and we don't need shops to go, "Oh wait, I know some shops don't want to carry our titles. I know some shops won't, I guess, treat us right in that regard, but we want, some people will not regard us indie creators unless we're nationally published, like through Diamond. You know what I'm saying? And so we need our product, we need our ideas, we need our comics into many shops and as many outlets as possible for people to buy physically, because that's still the number one way people buy comics is physically. And if comic shops go away or they're carrying less comics, that should mean lower comic sales because digital sales aren't higher than physical sales. So until that swap happens, physical shops going down is a blunder for us in general. So I mean that's all that's I guess my last 2 cents on that in terms of comic shops in general and how we should support our shops. And to be honest, man, I mean the community thing is a big thing. The manga cafe or a comic cafe, where you can meet people and engage with people and tell and educate people, and they can tell you about new series and new titles. That's definitely a thing, and that's the thing that kept me sane in Minot Air Force Base and Minot, North Dakota. And I think that's the feeling that we're all trying to have when we go to these shops. I know Ryan felt the way where, hey, this lady hasn't probably seen me in 10 years, but she still remembered me, or Eric bringing his children to a shop where everyone could buy a book and be happy because everyone is catered towards, and we got to find ways to keep these shops alive. And I mean, I'll go into my next kind of tangent here is that we got to stop gatekeeping comic books as a community.
Oh shit, he's about to
Oh,
do it.
Hold on, you just open up. Oh, wait.
Where's my
Hold on.
lemonade?
I just really felt the floodgates rolling. Hold on. Let me get my boat.
Oh shit, man! I'm in this liquor starting to hit hard, man. So fuck it.
I see.
Hold on.
Hard, man. So fuck it.
Let me get the Titanic safety boats out. Hold on.
All right, cool. Hold on, let me get another sip
we
here.
need help blowing in that inner tube.
Oh, I need all the help, man.
Hold on, here
Get them life tubes out. Floodgates are open.
Shit, man, I'm serious. I'm dead ass serious. We need to stop trying to gatekeep comics as hardcore fans because we're just deterring people to get into the fandom, and that's just gonna lower sales. It's gonna hurt us more. What I mean by this is that when I see Black Panther #3 by John Ridley, right? That's issue 200 for Black Panther. It's a landmark milestone number in comics, issue number 200, right? So when this item becomes so hot that I go to 3 comic shops, I can't buy it, right? What do you think that this will do for your casual person who just watched, I watch Black Panther, I watch Disney Plus, I go online, and Black Panther number 200 has such and such. It has a first character appearance of, what's his name, like Tosin, a new character, and everyone's buying, and I'm interested in this comic book because, it seems like everyone's into it, and I'm just getting into comics. This might be a good starting point. What do you think will happen to this person if they go to a comic shop and is like, guess what? It's sold out. You can't buy it. You gotta wait for the second print. or you got to buy it online. They're not going to do that. You know what I'm saying? They're not going to do that. When you have people who, are kind of like the recast, hashtag recast T'Challa, and, they're trying, kind of calling out normies or people who don't read the book, saying they don't understand T'Challa, and because of these people who don't read the books, T'Challa is not going to get recast or whatever. Like, that's the kind of attitude that deters people from getting into the fandom who enjoy reading the book. When your book is sold out and you can't find it anywhere, that's the kind of thing that will make people like, I'm not going to get into comics. Like, this is too much. Manga is accessible everywhere and anywhere. There is no, there's no real difficulty in finding My Hero Academia Chapter 1. It's everywhere. You know what I'm saying? But when it comes to a comic book, issue number 1, gotta buy it, gotta resell it. It's a spec. It's this, and that. And it's turned into almost like inside baseball when it needs to be the NFL if it wants to succeed. You know what I'm saying? It needs
True.
to be more accessible for people. We should not be like, normies, you're a normie. You don't know this, and that. And, we shouldn't be kind of gatekeeping this thing because it's going to hurt us in the end. Lower sales is not a good thing for the hardcore fan. We should be inviting, we should be like, hey, come on in, check this out. We should be like, I don't know. We should be more like the manga anime fans. Like, hey, check this out. You may like this. You may like that. They can go to a store and buy the manga because it's accessible and there's no fuss about it. Hey, come enjoy this thing. We're like, nah. These normies don't know that the first appearance of Punisher was an Amazing Spider-Man. Da 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 da. You know what I'm saying? Like, that shit doesn't help people get into the fandom. So, you know what I'm saying? It's almost like there's a certain group of people that want to gatekeep the shit. There shouldn't be a LGBTQ Superman, or there shouldn't be this, race
Every
swap
book is
this,
woke.
or everything is woke now. Or just keep it traditional. Like, if we really want comics to grow, which I get that that's what they're trying to do with some of these changes, is trying to get this out from the hardcore. We gotta be welcoming, man. We gotta allow people to come in this thing. We gotta say, hey, you liked such and such title. Let me help you out, pick out which issue to start. And I'd be like, you fucking normie, you don't know nothing? Go Google it. How do you not know? We shouldn't have these kind of attitudes if we want this space to grow and to thrive in the future. So I guess my
I think
rant's
I
over.
think I know what you're
Talk
talking
that
about.
talk. Talk that talk. Talk that fucking talk.
Rant
Because that
over,
is
man.
the
Y'all take
problem.
over.
We have a community be like, what you know about that young blood? That's my
Yeah,
generation right
yeah,
here.
yeah,
What you
yeah,
know
yeah.
about Earth,
That
Wind,
that
and
that
Fire?
that
That's
doesn't
my
help.
generation, young
That,
blood. You don't know nothing about that.
That's funny.
that's not gonna
What's
help.
up, man?
As a new fan, when I've gone in the shops, they've been very helpful and very friendly to me and helping me find stuff. Like you said, Donovan, they're very much in the mindset that we want this to continue and not go back to it just being people gatekeeping and holding the bag for themselves only. Um, I went to a local flea market, and there's an old guy who sells comics. I'm going tomorrow, actually.
Hmm.
He has dozens and dozens of comics, and he'll have regular people come in, and they'll say, "Hey, I'm trying to get my kid to stop playing video games or watching TV. Do you have X-Men comics? Because I used to like X-Men when I was a kid." And he was talking to the guy. He didn't seem too like hands on with that particular guy. And I told him, "How old is your kid?" And he said, like 10, 10, 12. And I said, "You might want to start with New Mutants instead of X-Men. The kids are his age, and the stories will be more relevant to him." And he's like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah." And then I pointed to where a couple of New Mutants were at, and he took some and he bought some for his kid. So stuff like that, basically.
Bada bing, bada boom. Damn right, man. Damn right. Good
You
shit
know
on your
what? It'd
part.
be great if, like, and I'm just putting on my thinking hat. Um, because I mean I think we're seeing a lot of a big indie comics boom with Kickstarter and all that. If they would try and get in on that action and maybe do middleman and just um maybe let them know you're doing a Kickstarter, they
Mm.
set up the printing, they bag it for you, they put some in their shop and they send the rest to you or something.
Mm.
Just to compete, because that's you gotta think of every solution you can to try and compete. And that'd probably be something that's pretty good. I'd love if somebody did all that, and I don't
Yeah.
gotta worry about printing and they just do that. They're already bagging stuff in the back anyway, and
Right.
they can
Right.
charge you
Right.
for like whatever extra stretch goals you did, like all those cards. They can do all that and just like take a little bit off the top and
Make it
like
convenient.
make it
I agree.
convenient. Exactly. Like you got to think like that. Especially like obviously look what Amazon did to all those stores. Like that stuff
Order
is
ass up.
whew, like they closed down malls, man.
Yeah.
So
No
tech
bullshit.
is always going at a certain speed. You just have to adapt to see what can and what can't work. So hopefully yeah, it'd be smart to look into things like that, especially indie creators. There's so many now. They can make a killing off them.
Yeah, man. You put that out there. I mean, who knows? For the remainder of the year, that might happen, man. I'd hire him. You know what I'm saying? With my first Kickstarter coming out, I fucking hired him for
I
sure,
would
man.
definitely do that. Exactly.
What you got, Eric?
Well, it's kind of going back to the last topic, and it applies to this one as far as bringing more people in. If we
Okay.
were to say, like, talk to all of the different shops around and maybe put out flyers and just let people know, hey, we're going to have a night where everybody's going to get together, manga people, comic book people, card players, D&D guys, because I love D&D, and so know, you'll have 5 minutes, talk about what you love. We're gonna have a raffle.
Mhm.
Whatever your interest is, just talk about it and let people know where they can find it, where to start with a certain comic book run. Because I know for me, I didn't grow up with comic books, and so I think I went into a shop like maybe 10 years ago, and it was like Batman number 800 and something. I was like, "Whoa, I can't go back and read number 1 cuz that's
Uh,
way too much." And I didn't
right.
understand how the numbering worked. So just to have someone say, "Hey, we want to teach you. We want to bring you in and even hold your hand as you learn more." So just doing something like that could really not just help the shops, but also help us as fans to be more empathetic. Because
Mhm.
at some point we've all maybe had the thought, like you said earlier, couldn't you just Google that? And then we got to slap ourselves in the face because thankfully there was probably somebody who took the time with us to say, hey, here's how you start.
Damn right,
Well
man.
said. Well
Damn
said.
right. Well said. For real. For real. What you got, O? Yo, you there? Or are you eating that the omelet you were making before?
Oh no, no. It's doing some chores, grown man chores. What
Oh, word,
was the
word.
question again?
Uh, I guess I don't even know, man. What was it? What
I
was
think
the
the topic
question?
was what
it
these comic book
involved
stores should be
it
doing
involved
to
comic.
actually stay relevant, right?
Yes, yes.
Okay, all right. Well, honestly, I don't think these comic book stores need to do too much. It's more so of what they should continue to do, as such as marketing and promoting their stores. Uh, it's because yeah, they got their regulars that keeps going there, and of course play D&D and card game stuff, but there's still a new generation of people that don't know about these comic book stores, or sometimes it's really that uh that new new studentism, that
Mhm.
feeling like a new kid at school and stuff, like feeling like they don't belong in that environment. So and I think that's where the comic book stores need to work on, is try to be more inviting to new people, and
share a little bit of their cultures because that's what we want to do. That's just human nature. People want to feel like they belong, and once they feel like
Right.
they
Right.
belong, you got them hooked in. They're going to be
Mhm.
more. They're going to be more into the culture of buying cars, buying comic books, and being part of the community and stuff. And that's what I think comic book stores need to work on and stuff. Because everybody else is going to have that stigma of like, I don't belong there. I don't feel like I belong, or they feel awkward about it. So I feel like it's the more promoting factor and stuff. Now, there's plenty of great ideas to improve a comic book stores to build a community. Like you guys mentioned, a cafe or whatever and stuff. But I feel like that, I don't know, pitching ideas. Maybe if more comic book stores were to be like, were to be more with social media, be more hip with the social media world, and such as doing a podcast or YouTube. Just I'm doing a YouTube video based out of my own comic book shop, and do funny plugs like based out of here in Houston, Texas, based out of Hampton, Virginia, or whatever. Like just being on social media and double promote and be the face of their comic book shops or their franchise of companies or of comic book shops they own and stuff. Then hey, this maybe it could work. Maybe take a little bit, take a bite out of what GameStop is doing with their kiosks and stuff. Where they got like um promotions, videos, stuff like that, and they have like a host of their of somebody who's representing their whole entire GameStop division or something like that. Comic book store should probably do that. I get that they also could do that same thing by going to comic book conventions and stuff, and be try to promote their stores locally and stuff, but we forget, people tend to forget that people are in and out. There's always people going to be coming into the state for whatever they're in for, whether visiting family or vacation, stuff like that. So there's just it's letting the nation know about your comic book store and where you're at and what do you have in stock, and kind of promote what you have in your store. So maybe this comic book stores need to kind of adapt to the time and just be more social, like more be involved in social media and more in the content creating aspect, and promoting their stores. And that's just an idea. I'm saying like they have to, but I think it would help, and it'll also help build a community and stuff, and hell man, if they have a comic book stores too, I mean, shoot, they could actually generate sales by like, having people buy from their store from online and have their comic book shipped to them stuff, because they like the owner or the person who represents that store a lot, so they buy from that store. So it's just a generating income, But yeah, man, like if comic book stores is going to be more trying to adapt to the times, stuff like that. Like I said, that be an idea. I like the cafe idea. Hell, they can have a like a barcade, but they have a bar comic book store, possibly. I get that. You're around liquids and stuff like that, so comic books can get wet. So I don't know. Some ideas, maybe like I don't know. I like the cafe idea, honestly. Uh,
Right. Right.
Buy a
maybe add a
comic
little
book, get a
small
beer.
arcade machines in there too. Maybe make a art comic book shop / arcade. I know some comic book shops probably have that.
Hmm.
Maybe that's just a pitched idea,
I like grab a comic book, grab a beer.
Yeah,
That's shit. That's all me right there, man. You already know.
Right,
yeah, man.
right.
Like
Friday
Hashtag
night
blame the
simple
too.
stuff
liquor.
sells.
Happy hour
Hospitality,
and
just having some sort of hospitality in a comic book store, and to build a community and and give them the incentive to come back and want to be a part of their community is what I think comic book stores need to work on. Because if not, man, they're going to be caught up. We're going to be caught up with the times where they end up like Blockbusters and KB Toys and
Hmm.
other toy shops. They're just not adapting to the times, and this is always going to be an ongoing struggle if if nobody becomes clever with their marketing.
well said.
Yeah, it's
True.
like
True.
the Noise convention a couple of weeks ago. Like that could have been a real big community boost for the comic book community out here in Tidewater. Just uh, bringing in people from. I think I met people from Philly, someone from Raleigh, North Carolina.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, like that was so much fun, and it was grab a comic book and then go get a beer.
True. True. That was, and I mean the only thing I have, I mean, slightly against NoiseCon It's very well run. It's a nice little indie comic book kind of day event, and you can grab liquor and grab beer right then and there. For the 2 years I attended, the only thing that I would think it would kind of need, well, not kind, it doesn't really need it, but it would benefit from is if it was actually hosting more local talent at the convention. Because, like you said, I met people from the Carolinas. I met people even from all the way here in Orlando, Florida. They drove they drove from Orlando to Virginia just for this event. And I didn't I met one or two people, but it was majority of people were out of state. I was surprised. I was like, whoa, like this is NiceCon. This is an indie comic convention for like the local area. I would imagine it would feature more local talent, more local people who would have tables from the 757 or hell, I mean even Richmond, but it was mostly out of state folks. So I mean that was my only thing with NiceCon. I mean if people were to actually say, hey, this is actual talent from the 757 here at this convention, but I don't know, who knows, whatever, convention might come out that might highlight that later in the area. But yeah, man, I agree with everything you guys are saying. It's I definitely think there's definitely some things that these comic shops can be doing to help improve. I think community based events and community based things can help bring more sales and definitely feel more of a customer base to keep coming back to your shop, because it's a feeling that you get that you can't get. Well, you're paying for the experience, right? You're going for the experience. It's not just, if I wanted something really specific, I can literally just go on a website or on eBay, buy the comic and have it shipped to my home. But you're going for the experience of going through those back bins, talking with people, and potentially seeing something that wasn't on your radar for you to enjoy. So if they can hone in on the experience, I think that, there's always a market for the experience and not just everything virtually. There will be people who still want to pay to see movies in person instead of on the Oculus. There'll still be people willing to pay to see sports in person instead of the Oculus. So as long as you can emphasize the experience of going to this event, going to something, experiencing something, then there's still a market for people who will still want that and they're willing to pay to get that. And I definitely think YA is a great thing so we can get younger generations, younger audiences to grow up into buying future comics. And those are our future consumers. Those are our future customers right then and there. It's indie creators. We want more kids to read comics and graphic novels and YA so that maybe in 5, 6, 7 years they'll say, hey, oh god, oh Kingdom Come, this shit went hard. Like, yeah, I want to buy this shit. When it came out, I don't like, this thing looks hard. Let me buy this. We want a new generation to get into comics and to get into graphic novels, to buy into this art form, because we don't want it to go away. You know what I'm saying? I think we're not at the age yet where digital sales are healthy enough to just, have the whole industry afloat. I definitely think that physical needs to stay alive and well as long as possible until, I guess, the whole metaverse takes over, and then those who are willing to pay will pay and get the more real experience. So